to be fair, Hunger Games fans can be a bit much too.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, after those books came out, being a teenager in those times, if you didn't read Hunger Games, you get the you haven't read Hunger Games. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't want to read a YA dystopia.
And then Hunger Games
or
itself,
you got all the Twilight jumpers from that to this, or like, what team are you, Team PETA? Or like, I'm here for kids killing kids.
I'm Team Kill.
I don't want to. I'm not going to support someone who's named after bread. I'm just not.
Welcome to Idiot Plot, a comedic podcast critiquing, discussing, and analyzing the media industry through reviews, debates, and historical deep dives.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Idiot Plot. On today's episode, we're doing another kind of finish up our round of our picks for this month. We're ending with my pick, which is the 2000 Japanese classic Battle Royale. Joining me, I'm David Yanis. Joining me today are Alex Ovidal.
Suzanne Collins could never.
And Justin Neitzel.
Hello.
So we're going to come back from the Suzanne Collins bit. Oh, wait, no. For legal reasons. It's just a coincidence.
Right.
It's just a coincidence. And we'll explain all of that later, what Susan Collins has to do with Battle Royale. But first, we're going to do like we always do and have our little opening warm-up segment. And this week, we're going to talk about what we watched recently again. So, Justin, why don't you lead us off?
Well, I watched the first 4 episodes of the new Star Wars Visions.
I have 2, actually. I watched the first 4, too.
Oh, cool.
You know, I haven't.
Yeah, I knew you. I figured you would.
We don't care what you think.
But I'm actually quite surprised. Disney let these Japanese anime companies do what they do. Nothing seems Disneyfied at all. I mean, I'm only 4 episodes in, but they're all distinct. Some of the animation is good, some of it's crappy. Some stories are crappy, some are not, but it's a lot of fun. It's something new, it's different. You're not going to like them all, but the first one is great.
The first one is phenomenal, and it's from the Batman Ninja people, so I expected nothing less.
Mm-hmm. I didn't expect it to be all in black and white for the most part, but it kind of added to it.
In terms, Alex will understand it. It's like a Kurosawa film, but Star Wars. That's what the short is. It's like black and white old school Japanese cinema, but with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there was a lot of fun. I watched a dub because David, you said you watched it. The dub was actually done well because with anime that could go either way.
It's very hit or miss.
But they were all very distinct. I'm glad they're not canon. I saw something that, not yet. I'm like, no, they got to stay non-canon. Because one episode, you got 2 people battling in space without helmets on. It's like, not going to work.
Yeah, and like they added characters, like they added like twins born of the dark side. You feel like they would have been introduced earlier in movies.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I took that more as a different tale of Luke and Leia.
I kind of did too, actually.
It was just, they're very interesting. I can't wait to watch the next 5.
See, the litmus test for anime in our household, my wife loves anime. It's like her favorite type of media to watch. Like movies, TV shows, she loves anime. And she was, I think, kind of skeptical when they first announced it, like everyone was, because, Disney, right? They like to Disney-fy things and put their own spin and have some sort of creative control in both good and bad ways. And then we saw the trailer for it, and she was getting excited because she saw the studios that were involved, and she knows them all really well. And was like, this could actually be really good. And we watched, not even talking about it, we also watched the first 4 episodes last night. She wanted to watch them all because she fell in love. I have never seen her this in love with a Star Wars thing in a very long time, if not ever. She is obsessed with this. And she was telling me about all the different studios that were involved, and she's like, yeah, this is all very distinct for each studio. They let them do their own thing. The Studio Trigger short felt like Studio Trigger, and so on and so forth. And I didn't, of course, have that sort of attachment to the anime part. I just wanted good Star Wars content, and I feel like that's what I got. Yeah, I agree with you, Justin. Not all the stories worked for me.
Yeah, like the second one was not. It's kind of a staple of anime kind of area where it's like music like a band or whatever. But it's just like, yeah, that didn't work for me. But it was the animation was good and everything.
And to me, the fourth one, The Village Bride, was way too story. There's too much story in that.
Yes, that one was a little too slow.
But I give them credit for trying.
Well, I give
them credit for trying. It's distinct. It's unique. It's very charming.
That was my whole thing. Is like my worry was Disney was going to be like, no, you guys got to tone things down, make the animation look better. No, they pretty much let them do what they do, and I was happy with that.
Which seems unheard of, right? Like I'm shocked because you hear us talk on this podcast all the time about Disney interfering with everything and having some sort of creative control, especially with Star Wars. So for us to sit here and be like, no, they actually let people do what they want is it feels great to say. I mean, I love it. I might watch the next 5 tonight for all I know. Because like I said, my wife loves it. But I feel like Disney saw Batman Ninja and took all the right lessons from it.
Or even like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Well, I say Batman Ninja only because Warner basically gave this company Batman and just said, do whatever the hell you want with it, make it yours, and they did.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what, maybe because that company did, or at least that producer did the first short, which is the duel, and I can see exactly what they did, because Batman Ninja, it was, let's give Batman a tour of Japan, let's give him a tour of anime, and go through all the anime stuff, sword fights, mech battles, all that stuff. And I see what the duel is. They said, well, George Lucas was inspired by Japanese cinema to make Star Wars. So let's put Star Wars into Japanese cinema.
And it worked.
It works wonderfully. Now we have to find a way to make Alex watch it.
The Clockwork Orange eye things.
I think you should at least try to watch the first one, if nothing
You would
else.
like the first one a lot, I feel.
The second one, I know you would hate immensely.
I know you would.
Yeah, see, that's gonna be a no for me.
See, the third one you might like just because it's bad shit insane.
Can I entice you that they're only about 15 minutes long?
I don't think that's gonna help me.
Do we have to make a deal? Do we have to have another Amadeus Mask of the Phantasm trade?
It would have to be. It would have to be something like that. But there's nothing at this point. I don't think there's anything I want you to watch as bad as Amadeus. So I think I'm.
Well,
good
then
for
I guess
now.
we'll just have to ask your girlfriend what she thinks, and we can go.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Now.
She listens.
I know. Hi, Sam.
Deliver me your terms to make him watch this.
Oh God.
Anyway, Alex, what do you have for us this week?
Well, I'm actually gonna go. I feel like I've done a movie every single time I've done a What We Watch, so I'm gonna do what you guys are doing. I'm gonna talk about a TV show that just about everybody is watching, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a hot take with it because I'm finding myself becoming disinterested with it.
Ooh, I think I know where we're going. I am excited.
And it is Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Now, I feel like everybody's watched, like, either watched or like has heard about Ted Lasso by now, the American football coach who coaches soccer in Europe. It is a super heartwarming guy. It's fun, funny. Season 1 is like perfect because, and I think something in season 1 that people weren't expecting is it's actually like really touching at times and like, has like some real themes to it, but like he's always super uplifting, but it's also still really funny, tons of comedy, but like you get those moments that you're like, oh wow, that's really surprising, and people like that heartwarming quality. So season 2, they're like, okay, we're just gonna make that the show. So all season 2 is just all this super real stuff and just pulling at your heart all the time, trying to make you feel fuzzy or sad, but it's forgetting like the rhythm season 1 had, where it was also constantly funny, and so it's like not even a comedy show anymore. Like this, and it's like it's almost like I watch an episode and like there are times where I'm like, oh, this is really good, but by the end I'm like, I kind of just feel bummed out now. Like this is like tugged too much at my emotions one way or the other, and now I just feel exhausted, and then I don't want to watch it. And this is coming from the one who likes all this sad stuff, but I'm like, it's just trying so hard to do that, and I'm like, where'd the humor go? Where's the fun because it was season 1 had the perfect balance of those two things, and 2 is just constantly doing this, and I'm like, it makes me take forever between watching episodes. Like, it was weeks between the last episode I watched, then I watched another one recently, and I felt the same way. I'm like, well, this is just doing the same thing all over again.
Now, I haven't seen any of the episodes, but I can tell you, you're not the only one. I've seen a few people complain about that as well.
Yeah, actually, I haven't checked like what anybody thinks about it besides like a couple of friends. So I legit have not seen like the general consensus because I'm like probably like 4 or 5. I'm a number of episodes behind. I've seen the first 4 of season 2. Yeah, so I've seen the first 4 of season. No, that was my laundry that I forgot was still running. So I've seen the first 4 of season 2, and I don't know. I feel like a lack of desire to continue, which is exactly how I felt after watching 3. And part of me thinks 4 was maybe the strongest episode so far, and at other times I'm like, it just did the same thing. It was a Christmas episode, so of course it pulled even harder at the end, and I'm like. Like, it just made me feel sad. Like, and that's fine. Like, I like sad stuff, but like not in a way that's like impactful or like makes me think about things. I'm just like, I don't know.
No, I haven't seen Ted Lasso because it's on Apple TV Plus, and like most people on this planet, I don't have that. But I will say it has reached what I think is the danger zone for most shows, where it is now the ultimate bandwagon show.
Yeah.
It's reached that Schitt's Creek point where like it's everyone's show, but I think now it's still early enough in its run where it's at that dangerous point where the bandwagon fans might be able to like start controlling where the show goes.
Yeah, and I feel there's a good chance everyone focused so much on the heartwarming part or like the impactful part in season 1 that they just did like 10 times more of that. But it was so liked for that because it was unexpected, and it would be really funny, and then it would just hit you with something real, and then it would get back to being funny, and you're like, you know, and it made you.
It had a nice balance.
Right, yeah, but now it's like that's all the show is. And I think you're right that it's some of like its popularity and people focusing so much on that part of it might have led to it going so hard on that in season 2 to its detriment.
Like, it's only going to get more into that because it got more awards.
I know, and it's like, well, I even know like this season will get more into it. I'm like, I'm only 4 episodes in, and of course the heaviest stuff in a season hits closer to the end, and I'm like, it's just going to get worse. And
I came here for laughs, not to cry.
Yeah, I'm just not even as invested anymore because I'm like, it just keeps doing it, and I'm like, at this point you've lost my investment because like, what am I even rooting for to happen?
And what's strange is normally, at least with comedies, is that kind of tonal shift doesn't usually happen until the main creator leaves. When a show is on for way too long and the creator leaves, and then whoever is else in charge completely takes it in a different direction.
Take it in my direction.
Yeah, or it just gets too long in the tooth, and they kind of like they're so focused on the characters that they kind of start to forget a little bit. That's like season 5 stuff, you know what I mean? Like 5, 6, like usually really deep into a show, and not like boom, season 2.
It's usually why I wait to watch some of these shows because, like, also, like you said, it's like a lot of bandwagon jumping on it. It's like during the Breaking Bad era for me. It's like everyone's like, "Oh, it's so good, you got to watch it." I'm like, everyone tells me that. I don't want to watch it, be disappointed.
And it sucks because season 1 was exactly as good as everybody said, and it deserves all those awards. Season 2 does not. It's really just not living up to it, and it's been hugely disappointing. And I don't know how much more I'm going to watch.
I mean, that's too bad because I remember when season 1 came out, you would not stop praising it to me, in like a good way.
Yeah,
it was like Ted Lasso is amazing. It's a must watch. And so it's really funny now hearing you say this.
Yeah, like I'll probably watch episode 5 like a month from now and not like it, and then just be done.
I love the specificness of the timing in that.
Yeah, because this was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before that. It was like 2 weeks. This one will be like a month, and then I'll stop.
That'll be 2 months, and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I should probably go back and
3
finish
years.
that."
I mean, to be fair, it takes you that long to watch episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and you like that show.
Yeah, but I don't know if I like the turn that show started taking either. I haven't watched one of those in a while either, but I don't want you to
Let's not have this fight right now, because I'm gonna fight you.
I know you are. That just got got a little exhausting too. The change in that one for me.
Anyway, for my pick, I'm gonna cheat and not talk about something I watched, even though I have a lot to talk about. Yes, I have seen Shang-Chi. No, I'm not going to talk about it because it's not interesting enough to talk about. It's like every other Marvel movie. But what we want to talk about is this month, so September, is the 10-year anniversary of DC Comics' relaunch of the New 52, the super controversial rebranding and reshuffle of their entire publishing lineup. For people that don't know comics, you're probably like, why does this matter? Well, at the time, it was a big deal. DC kind of put all of their, basically all their eggs into this one single basket, that a relaunch of the entire continuity would get new readers. If they reshuffled writing teams, if they made the characters more modern, whatever the heck that means, edgier.
Means changing Nightwing's suit from blue to red for some reason.
basically making things different, that they would get new readers. But it was also an attempt to bring back not just superhero comics, but add war comics, horror comics, romance comics, all back into the mix. And it failed.
Shocker.
Well, there's some good stories to it. Have any of you read any of the New 52 books?
I've read a couple.
I've read some of Batman.
And Batman's a good example, right? Because I'll admit that the DC Comics universe before New 52 was kind of a challenge for new readers. There was no good jumping in points. The continuity had become way too complex. New 52 made sense. I was pissed because I was finally getting into comics to the point where I actually understood what was going on now, and just as soon as I did, they decided to just delete everything. So I was like, well, so much for all my time and money then, damn it.
All those years reading comic books wasted.
Basically. But then the problem came with that the New 52 was almost just as complex, like right away, as the one before it. There was always different books with all these different characters, some with the same characters in them, but all at different points in the timeline.
And all acting different than what the previous book you read was.
Yeah, like Justice League was like set before like the Batman comic, and Action Comics was set before the Superman comic, and there was also like Batman especially having like 5 books all going at the same time that were all telling.
Confused.
Yeah, because they're all telling pieces of the same story, and I remember being really confused because I was a stupid kid. I mean, it's nightmarish to think it was 10 years ago. It does not feel like it was that long, but it was. Because I tried reading them right away, and I was just confused by the tone shifts. I mean, I love Scott Snyder's Batman run now. Now it's one of my favorite superhero runs ever. But at the time, I was like, what the hell is this? But in Batman in that storyline, he brings. I mean, one of the big things is, this isn't a spoiler. I'm sure if you know anything about comics, you've seen it. But one of the big things is that for some reason, Joker removes his face.
Yeah, I remember that was weird.
He takes his face
off.
He removes it, and it's not really explained as to why, but he removes it in Batman Detective Comics, and the story is resolved in the main Batman book. So you have to you have to read 2 different books to understand the whole plot.
And I believe there was a Suicide Squad book where Harley throws it on Deadshot and then fucks him.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
God,
that was such a weird thing to hear about. It was like, what? Wait, what? It's weird enough that Joker cut his face off in general, but then that happened. You're like, where are we going, guys?
Well, and there was no reason he took it off other than for him to staple it back on and look weird.
He's already weird.
No, I did love that storyline. I do love Death of the Family. But at the same time, the main Batman story, like, there's like different universes. We have the main Batman, all the Batman books have their own ongoing narrative amongst all like 12 of them that goes throughout the whole run of New 52. Then you have Justice League, which has a separate continuity from the Batman books. Because at one point, I'm going to say this because I don't anyone's going to read it at this point. Batman, in quotes, dies, and Jim Gordon becomes Batman. But Bruce Wayne is still Batman in other books. There's just no cohesion, which is what Polygon just did an article, big, where they interviewed a bunch of people, including Scott Snyder, the writer of the Batman series, about kind of what happened and what went wrong. And the big thing they all pointed to is that no one seemed to know what anyone wanted, which resulted in no cohesion, no clear continuity, no clear timeline.
Sounds like Disney.
It sounds like Disney Star Wars.
But it was almost worse than that, because comics are not cheap.
Yeah.
They are expensive, whether you buy them monthly with the floppies, you buy them in the paperbacks as graphic novels, or even digitally, they can get pricey too. They're not cheap. So when I have to spend how many, like, hundreds of dollars, like a month, it seems, just to understand the main story, something's wrong. Like, something is not right. And DC, I think, kind of lost that, especially just, again, how confusing the timeline was, and the fact that there really wasn't a big overarching story, like, ever, which is usually what kind of unifies the continuity. And some things like Marvel sometimes get over the top with these big events, because Marvel basically did New 52 yearly for about 5 years and relaunched all their books about once a year, so they could kind of goose sales on #1 issues because they're shady like that. Whereas DC kind of wrote New 52 until it finally died out 5 years later, and then they did Rebirth, which erased most of the New 52, and then they did Doomsday Clock, which made the New 52 its own separate universe. So New 52 isn't even canon anymore in DC Comics. It was now just a 5-year, like, alternate universe experiment, which to me is the ultimate.
I remember when it first started, a lot of people liked some of the changes, yet also hated some of the changes as well.
I mean, there were some good books with it, but the problem is the good books were all written by the same 3 dudes. Because you had Batman by Scott Snyder, which was great, but you had Justice League by Jeff Johns, Green Lantern by Jeff Johns, Aquaman by Jeff Johns, Green Arrow by Jeff Lemire, Justice League Dark by Jeff Lemire, and Jeff Johns, I'm pretty sure too. So of the 52 books, you had 3 dudes who were writing the only good ones. So yeah, and I think it's important because a lot of DC's other media, such as their movies, especially the first Suicide Squad, were clearly inspired by New 52, and that was kind of, like I said, it was a failed experiment. And like Jay said, just some of the changes were good. I liked some of the costume designs. I remember when everyone got mad that Wonder Woman wore pants. I remember that was somehow a controversy.
Well, anything to do with female comic book characters, there's always a controversy.
Well, I think that was more, it's your ruining tradition, which is like, who cares? It's a comic book character.
It's over with now. Didn't they change her back or whatever?
Yeah, well, they changed everything back.
Like I said, they changed Nightwing to red, and it was like
you said, Justin, like them changing Nightwing from blue to red became like, even and the article I read, I talked about that was like big controversy in DC. A lot of the writers were trying to figure out how to get him back in the blue suit. People were like, that's not important.
We need the blue suit. Well, you already had like Red Robin or whatever. It's like, well, why do we need him in red? And I remember it was like you said, Marvel did that too. And it was like, he looked exactly like Cyclops in X-Men.
Yeah, he did. He did, like, you're right.
Like, should have just left him blue. There was nothing was wrong with the Nightwing suit.
But edgy. Anyway, with that, let's get on to our main topic of the discussion. Kinji, oh God, I'm gonna butcher this. Fukasaku's, that was not right, I'm sorry.
You should stop picking these directors you can't pronounce.
Kinji Fukasaku's Battle Royale came out in Japan in the year 2000. It is about this totalitarian Japan that had an issue where basically a bunch of high school students just stopped going to school. They didn't see it was worth it. Like, juvenile delinquency was up, so they decided to just not go to school anymore. And crime went up, and all your normal dystopia stuff. So they decided to pass the BR Act, known as the Battle Royale Act, that basically said that once a year, a random 9th grade class will be chosen. The class will be taken out to this remote area, and they will have to kill each other until there's only one of them left. If that sounds like another American franchise, that is purely coincidental.
But they did it first.
For legal reasons.
You might notice the year 2000 and not 2008.
But that's only coincidental. And the big thing with this movie is they say it's banned. It really wasn't banned. It came out in Japan right after Columbine, and so Toei, the company that made it, saw that the concept of a bunch of kids in school killing each other was probably not going to be well received in the States.
To be fair, they weren't in a school.
Close enough. Close enough for them to be like, yeah, we probably shouldn't do it. And so it took 10 years for it to get a wide U.S. release. In that time, it was shown at universities. It was shown at film festivals. It was still shown in the States, just not at the full wide release level until 2010 when it got a direct-to-video release in the States. I mean, it was one of those underground hits. Like, even Tarantino at one point said it was his favorite movie made since 1992. In true Tarantino fashion, he got really specific with the exact time frame.
As he does.
But I think even past the controversy, why I picked this movie specifically, part of it is the controversy, part of it is the connection to Hunger Games, because I don't like Hunger Games, and I kind of like using this movie to explain why I don't like Hunger Games. But to me, this movie is violent. Like, as you can probably assume, it's scary in a lot of ways. It's fun, but it's also really deep. It has tons of emotional depth with the characters. It has something to say with its story. And the first time I saw it completely blew me away. It's so intense. It's so scary. We're gonna talk about spoilers. Probably talking about the plot. So if you want to stay kind of in the dark with this movie and what happens with it, probably stop listening. But the twists and turns and this energy of who's going to die next that drives this movie forward is so chaotic and kind of stressful in a way too. That
really works to its advantage though, because it's like the first half hour into them killing each other, it's like so many people die. You're like, holy crap, this is quick.
Yeah, and then they set up very quickly that they set up kind of a trio of characters and then kill one of them like 10 minutes in, and it's like, okay. Okay, then so you don't, it sets up the fact that you don't fully know what to expect or who's gonna die, and it's random. It definitely has that randomness, but with purpose. It feels motivated every time.
Well, that's the fun part. This doesn't have big action star people with big contracts, and you're like, well, he's not gonna die first.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going to happen, and that's what makes to me. I mean, the beginning of this movie. I should probably get right off the bat. The opening titles of this movie are some of the most insane, over the top
I've ever
seen.
I was real worried that I wasn't gonna like it when I saw those opening titles, because that was some weird shit. And also, I mean, once they get to the classroom scene and they're explaining how it works, I was interested, but the amount of zooms was just ridiculous, and I'm like, God, I hope the whole movie isn't like this, because it's gonna piss me off, the anime zooms, and that didn't happen at all. Yeah,
the first 5-10 minutes is pretty hard to watch. Even in this rewatch, I was like, this is jump cutty too much.
I felt very nauseous at times. I'm like, whoa. I'm trying to read yet watch it. I'm feeling woozy.
But then the class gets abducted, and they get put into the classroom where they're explaining how it works. And that scene is one of my favorite scenes of any movie ever. The way the exposition is explained to both the audience and the kids is so haunting and nightmarish that, as an audience member, I found myself mimicking how the kids were behaving when they were told.
Well, and the actor Takashi Kanata, he just kills it in that scene. He's just
say hi, everyone.
That was so good. Yeah, I feel to me it was almost this is maybe nitpicky, but I thought it was a little long, because they're in the classroom for a long time, but it was very effective, especially the videotape that he shows. I was dying. That was so funny and dark. That was
she
so
has
good.
the URL tattooed on her arm for the website. And the fact that it's they made those work training videos where she's like, hello everyone, and they're like, say hello. The other kid's like, what the hell is this?
You're gonna kill each other.
We're gonna have fun. And then she pulls out the axe and she's like, oh,
this is a good weapon.
Well, that was the other weird thing, was partway through them killing each other, oh, I've been looking for this weapon. It's like I had to go back. I'm did they show the weapons you got or whatever? Because it's I don't remember that.
But going back to that classroom scene quick, the part that the first time I saw it made my jaw drop is when the teacher goes, "No talking," and throws the knife and kills the first person.
Yeah,
crazy.
I was not
right away.
that.
That's the moment where it's like, oh God, here we go. And it's like, oh crap, probably shouldn't have done that. Oh well, whatever.
Pulls a knife out of her
he's so
head.
like nonchalant, like, and almost bored. He's like, "Yep."
Yep, this is happening, guys.
And like you mentioned, Alex, one of the main characters early on is the example character, because all the kids. So I guess how the rules are is the kids all have like these shot collar type things attached to them that if they try to flee or if they take too long, blows their necks open. And in a Gallagher Tarantino-esque style, just blood everywhere. And they use one of the main characters early on as the example character that goes too far, and so they blow him up, which is another just super shocking moment. And then with that, the rules are they have 3 days. There can only be one left. If there's more than one, they all die. And each person gets like a bag with like with food, water, and like a random weapon.
And a map.
Map and compass. And that weapon it could be a gun, it could be a knife, it could be a pot lid. You have no idea. Taser. And then when the movie starts with the killing, it does not let up. Like the first thing you see them go out there is a girl with an arrow through her neck.
Yeah, this movie's brutal. My goodness.
And the first kid who went out there, which is one of the funniest parts, when they said the first kid's name, he's like, and just blows out of there.
I'm here. Don't put him up my head.
And then the rest of the movie is just following these characters, these kids, as they try to survive and get off the island. And you have some of the kids embrace the game. Others try to hold on to their humanity. Others try to escape. Seeing how it plays out is, to me, the best part of the movie.
A couple of them commit suicide. That was surprising.
Yeah, because they just don't want to participate in it. And I was like, yeah, they really get like the complete scope of like how people would react in that kind of situation. Mm-hmm. Like who's going to turn on other people immediately, who's going to take some time but end up doing that, who's going to want to fight back, who's going to give up, like that kind of thing. Like
who are the people that are going to team up and try to find a way out of there?
And like when they like have conflict with each other, how do they solve it? Because they'll have weapons, so like some conflict, like some arguments or small conflicts can turn into like they'll kill each other,
like the lighthouse scene.
Oh, that was amazing. That was
they're all friends, happy, and then all of a sudden
food poisoning,
the main guy, and then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, that was intense.
All these girls that were friends like 20 seconds before just start shooting each other. Amazing.
Now there's someone I think that saw this movie and then took inspiration from that, and I think it was Heath Ledger. I think,
what do you mean?
Because the one kid who volunteered for this, he seemed very like Heath Ledger's Joker-ish to me. Just like his mannerisms and the way he kind of walked around.
I can kind of see that.
Yeah, the kid. I don't think he's. Yeah, like the kid who doesn't say anything, right? I don't think he has any lines.
No, but he's crazy. Because
he's scary.
There were 2 transfer students. One of them is a former winner. The other is a guy who volunteered.
It's just kind of weird. Just like kind of the way he just kind of was walking around, kind of firing his gun. I was like, man, I'm kind of getting Heath Ledger Joker vibes here. And this came out before that. I could be wrong.
He's the closest thing this movie has to like a villain. I said it because like there really are no heroes and villains.
Yeah, it's like that. Him for sure, because he really like they don't like go into his background. He's just like this scary figure. And then the one girl who also does a lot of killing is also like close to a villain. Although again, they also like show why they give more of her background.
Yeah, that's creepy.
It's very unsettling. Like the first shot when you see her and she puts the flashlight, and you're like, no, she's one of the crazy ones.
Run, girl, get out of there.
Here we go, get out. And she just embraces the game, and the movie portrays it like she just doesn't. She's a sociopath, right? She just doesn't have the morality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, when you see
everyone else,
when you see her backstory, you're kind of like, oh shit, kind of see why.
Well, because everyone else in the movie is like, I don't want to kill you, I don't want to do this, and she's like, yeah, okay. Cool.
Bring it on. She's like the only one that changes and showers and everything. She's like, I'm at camp. We're having so much fun.
Yeah, she's just murdering all of her
former friends.
Oh God, yeah, she was terrifying. That performance. Yeah, Mitsuko Suma is that character. She is terrifying with a freaking sickle.
This is all I got, but very good for slicing your throat.
Oh, that's pretty good. But like you guys said, they actually developed her character with actual like background scenes and exposition that actually, which was actually important from this movie, is it has the version that you will most likely see in the States is actually the director's cut, which featured a bunch of like George Lucas-esque scenes that were shot after the movie already came out. One of them is the origin story of that character,
which is really important.
So that, the background of a very important character wasn't put in until after the film was already released. That and the basketball scene, which is also really important, maybe shown too much.
Yeah.
They used that like every 20 minutes.
But I understand why it was used, because it's to establish when they were all friends, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were all close, and then they go kill each other. I mean, if I had a favorite one-off character that dies super quickly, it's probably Math Kid.
That the kid with the crossbow.
It's a kid with the glasses who, like, when he shows up, he's saying math formulas.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then says, "I want to get into a good school," and immediately dies. But I think it's important to note with this movie is that it is extremely violent. It's extremely gory, but it works. It's not gratuitous, in my opinion.
No, it fits the movie for sure.
And it's not like a Quentin Tarantino movie where it's just there for, we need blood.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of it, but it feels like it fits the themes of the story because the whole thing is chaos. It's this chaotic, super brutal. I mean, you're seeing kids kill each other, which most people makes them extremely uncomfortable, but serves the story well. You're not supposed to watch this and go, yeah, kill. You're supposed to be disturbed. This is supposed to be fucked up.
Yeah.
I guess my favorite part of that angle is, and Alex, you alluded to this earlier, is just the sheer randomness of it, where the kids don't know what's about to happen to them. You don't know who's going to live, who's going to die. You don't know who's going to try and stay somewhat sane, who's going to try and team up, and who's just going to go completely wild and start killing everyone.
Well, like we said about the lighthouse scene where they're all friends and everything, it's like it also shows like everyone's like being friendly and everything, but at the drop of a hat, something goes sideways, they're ready to kill.
Well, because that one girl saw the main guy, Nanahara, kill that one guy with the hatchet, which was like an accident.
Oh, that's right. That was really good too.
Yeah, when they rolled down the hill, he killed him with a hatchet. And so she thought that dude was a killer. So she tried to kill him with her weapon, which was poison, and they poisoned his food. But then someone else tasted it, and she died, which had all the other girls thinking that, okay, one of us is a murderer. And then bang, bang, shoot. Just that one little thing caused paranoia. Amazing scene. But you compare it to something like Hunger Games, right? Where the big thing with Hunger Games is that the morality of the characters is directly connected to their wealth. Mm-hmm. The richer the character, the more evil they are, and a poorer character, the more good they are. I'm not saying that in a good or bad way. That's just kind of how it is.
Well, basically in Hunger Games, you're actually rooting for someone. Mm-hmm.
Well, because all the characters know the games are coming, and you know who's gonna be good, and who's gonna be bad. All the characters have like preferred weapon sets from the beginning, so you can expect that Katniss is going to use a bow and arrow, and that one guy, or is it girl? One of the rich ones has like throwing knives.
Yeah.
Like you know exactly what's going to happen and exactly how it's going to play out from the beginning. Battle Royale, not the case.
Well, this was also interesting because you also saw people trying to escape, coming up with ideas, like the hacker guy and his band of merry men.
Anonymous.
Yeah, which adds a different wrinkle than in Hunger Games, where it's just like, oh, they're all going to kill each other.
Yeah, and you know who's going to team up with who and how it's going to basically play out.
But yeah, and like with fighting back, what bothered me in Hunger Games is that like they literally waited until the second book and movie to do literally anything about it. Like no one tried to find a way out at all. And that bothered me because, like, that's something that really interested me. And, like, with the second one, I was like, oh, this is what I've been waiting to see. And this film really, like, maximizes the entire concept because you've got that visceral nature, which this actually plays up, and you get the brutality. And then you also get right away and throughout the film people trying to find a way out.
Well, yeah, because you could have the hackers who are trying to hack their way out. You have those two girls that try and negotiate peace and get immediately gunned down.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was bad.
And then you have Nanahara and Nakagawa. I think that's the girl who try to team up with the other guy who's the veteran of it to escape, but like they don't know if they can trust him.
Right. So that's an interesting dynamic of what's he up to, which they kind of play with at the very end. Although like I figured he was, this was part of his plan, but like you do kind of have that mistrust for him a little bit at times.
But all the characters have agendas, which really helps.
And most of them from the guys are, I'm horny and I want to bang this girl.
That's also for the girls too. Like, there's lots of romance, but in that weird teen way.
Yeah.
Right. There are, again, it's like, high school. Like some elements are like high school team drama with murder. So it's like they're all trying to kill each other. Some of them are like, oh, like I want to sleep with somebody before we all die the next day, and like you get that element, and it's like you get the arguments, but the little petty arguments can turn into murder, and it's like you get that extra edge to it, and that amplifies what it's trying to say.
And then you get that absolutely terrifying scene with the girl who's the runner.
Oh yeah.
I want for private reasons I won't say what happens. All I'll say is that when she turns on the guy, that's what was oh you fucked up.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yep. So
he deserved that. He deserved that shit, but that was hard to watch.
Yep. But
that was the hardest thing to watch. I was like cringing the entire time.
That's the thing, right? Is like she's one of the good ones. It's portrayed kind of clearly that he's evil, she's good, but she responds to him with just as much brutality as he was prepared to show her, which I think is what makes...
I'm just cringing about that scene now. Oh my god.
Well, Tarantino likes this movie for a reason.
I know. I thought the same thing during watching. I'm like, wow, I know why Tarantino likes this movie.
And I didn't see much of feet.
Hey, don't insult my dad like that. Anyway, I feel like a lot of people when they see this movie are going to just look at the violence and take it at face value, because there is some, like we talked about, right? There's some brutal, cringeworthy scenes when it comes to the violence and gore. But I think you have to look past that and see the true genius satire that this movie really is, and its message. I mean, you have a teacher who is so fed up with the system after that kid stabs him in the butt that he literally turns on his entire class, and it's just okay watching them die.
Yeah. While arguing on the phone with his wife.
And does a nice oil painting of what he think the outcome might be or whatever.
Oh, that was so creepy. Oh my goodness.
Because that's the one girl who showed him kindness.
Yeah. So he became like weirdly obsessed with her, but like wanted her to be the one to like kill him, which is really interesting. I did not expect that at all.
He was
like, it's like a test almost, and she doesn't do it, and it's the guy who does it instead.
His character was so interesting. Just the way he acted and everything.
I mean, amazing performance by Takeshi Kaneda. I mean, the guy's a Japanese legend.
Yeah, like I swear I've seen him as something else. I just don't know what.
I've seen him in Ghost in the Shell, but most people in the States will probably know him better as Vic Romano from MXC on Spike TV, which was a Japanese game show, basically Wipeout, but it was dubbed over by U.S. comedians to make it funny. Fantastic show. Like it is a great 2 a.m. drunk watch.
Looking at his IMDb, I don't see anything I've seen him from. But he did look really familiar.
Ghost in the Shell is definitely why I saw him in other movies. But he was like one of their biggest stars in in a very brutal, horrific movie, which is still, I mean, people still talk about with controversy, even though a lot of movies have become more violent and more violent with kids too. But that said, I totally respect their decision to delay the movie.
Yeah, that would not have been that is one of those things, like, I think it might not have the reputation it did today if it released at the wrong time. Like, that might have been focused on, and then, pushing it back, now this movie has a very large reputation.
But I think, you would have definitely had some theaters boycott it just because of the time. But it probably would have made a ton of money based off the controversy factor.
Probably.
But I think Toei probably saw that as like blood money. So I respect them for their morals. However, I don't respect them because if they would have released the movie when it came out, it would have stopped Hunger Games from coming out. And then imagine where we'd be.
Well, it'd be interesting to know how many people who would see this film, would they downplay it because it's like, oh, it's just a Hunger Games ripoff or something, or a darker Hunger Games, when they probably wouldn't know that it came out first.
I think a lot of people would, but I also know a lot of people that were really disturbed by Hunger Games. So if I showed them this, they'd be even more disturbed.
I'd say.
Nah, I would not be able to handle this.
But also, I think it's fair to say too that Hunger Games is not the only ripoff of this movie. I mean, Hunger Games is the one that gets the most like flack for ripping off, just because it's almost too like yeah, I want to give Susan Collins the benefit of the doubt, but
I don't anymore.
Well, and I feel like people that say that Battle Royale and Hunger Games are not very similar have not seen Battle Royale.
Right. It's one thing to just have the concept, like that's totally understandable. That happens all the time, and people compare like two movies or two stories too closely too often, where they'll like nitpick and say like, oh, this is just this. It's like, no, it's really not. That's just like the base formula. This has such specific things that like the announcements at the times of day, like all the moving zones, all these really tiny things that there's just no way that it's not ripping that off. It's too close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. There's no way that and if she did just happen to think that all on herself, then she just got very unlucky. With how close it was. But even then, we have stuff like the Belko experiment, which is just Battle Royale in a building, in an office building with coworkers. But I've seen that movie. I do enjoy that movie, which I guess is a hot take because the movie wasn't really well received. I thought it was really fun, but it is very close to Battle Royale, just in how it plays out, from the violence to the morals, that stuff. But even then, on Netflix, just recently, they released Squid Game.
Is this like Squidward Battle Royale? Oh no.
No, it's Battle Royale mixed with Fall Guys.
That actually sounds like fun.
I actually kind of want to watch it. I just haven't had enough time.
But I mean, and speaking of games, I mean, like literally that entire video game genre is named after this. Like, yeah, it is. The term Battle Royale is literally named after this.
Yeah, Battle Royale was not a term that existed before Battle Royale, before the movie. It exists at least in the form that we know it of the everyone fights until one left standing because of the movie.
This really does look like Fall Guys mixed with Battle Royale.
Yeah, it is. It's Fall Guys mixed with Battle Royale, which is kind of why I want to watch it. Because that's an interesting twist on the formula. Mm-hmm. Crap, what we were talking about right before that.
Battle Royale games and how that term comes from the movie.
But also, to be fair, Battle Royale games are now like the cancer of the game industry.
Right. Certainly at this point, it's like microtransactions inspire them more than this movie. But, just the term and the basic part of it.
Do you want to win at this game? Pull out your mommy's credit card and put it in.
You want to play as Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty in Fortnite?
I guess that's the way it's like Hunger Games, because all the rich kids get all the good stuff. Where are we dropping, boys? Oh, God.
Do you still play Fortnite, Justin?
No, I haven't played since when we lived together.
Which was weird that was like 4 years ago.
I don't want to think about. I don't want to think about how long ago that was.
With a Fortnite's been that big for that long. That never happens.
I'm surprised it stayed as relevant as it has.
Yeah, that and GTA 5 are just never gonna fucking die.
I mean, PUBG's dead. PUBG existed to be before Fortnite.
Yeah.
And Fortnite has all the toys, all the cross promotions with properties that probably should not be in a game for children, or game that's popular with children.
That's it. That's the only upside is that we're getting that 80s style thing of things designed for children that are based on things that children should not see, like R-rated action movie toys.
Which they still make.
RoboCop.
There was an Aliens Toyland at Walmart for a while.
Yeah, give me that kind of stuff again.
Well, it's like when you watched Space Jam and all the background characters are like from Clockwork Orange. Like all these murderers in the background.
Clockwork Orange?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Droogs were in the background.
Oh my goodness, that's very bad. Really bad.
You had Pennywise in the background. It's like, these aren't very, but Pepe Le Pew was problematic.
Yeah, Pepe Le Pew was bad. Let's have the Droogs from Clockwork Orange hanging out in the background.
And a murderous clown in the background, too.
Okay, hear me out. Space Jam, but instead of basketball, it's Battle Royale.
Oh, that's great.
It still stars LeBron James, but it's about LeBron James being hunted by the Looney Tunes.
And then he thinks he's won, and then Michael Jordan comes. And snipes
He's
him.
the survivor.
It became personal with me.
That sounds like a meat canyon.
Yeah, see, Michael Jordan would kill all of them. That's the scary part. Michael Jordan would kill all of them.
No, Charles Barkley would win. Why is he not in Space Jam 2? Why is Ernie the commentator from Inside the NBA? It should have been Charles.
Charles
Charles and Ernie.
Charles was like, I was in one. I don't need to be in another.
But that's be the jokes, right? Because what I guarantee you, Charles Barkley probably doesn't remember he was in Space Jam.
Probably not.
So that would make it fun. And he's in the best scene of that movie. But Battle Royale, it's been copied so much. But it's one of those things, right? We talked about this with the Red Shoes. Of everyone knows the imitations, but nobody knows like the original source.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what came after Red Shoes, but not many people know what the Red Shoes is. Much like everyone knows what happened after Battle Royale. And Battle Royale was popular for a while, especially right after Hunger Games came out, because everyone and their mother. And it was got annoying, right? Because even myself was getting to know all the people on the internet. It's like, Hunger Games is just Battle Royale. That were just kind of having to poo-poo everyone's parade. But like, no one could talk about how much they like the Hunger Games without somebody going, it's just Battle Royale, poo-poo, that kind of thing. But now having seen Battle Royale,
you agree?
I kind of get it.
Well, like we were talking about earlier, it's like if there was just a couple similar things, like kids killing each other, okay. But like Alex says, like there's way too many coincidences.
And to be fair, Hunger Games fans can be a bit much too.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, after those books came out, being a teenager in those times, if you didn't read Hunger Games, you get the. You haven't read Hunger Games. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't want to read a YA dystopia.
And then Hunger Games
or
itself,
you got all the Twilight jumpers from that to this, or like, what team are you, Team PETA? Or like, I'm here for kids killing kids.
I'm Team Kill.
I don't want to. I'm not going to support someone who's named after bread. I'm just not.
I mean, the real thing, right, is like Josh Hutcherson versus Liam Hemsworth. Liam Hemsworth, right?
Yeah.
Can I pick neither?
But the Hemsworths are funny, so that's what team I'm on.
Not Liam, or at least he's.
Yeah, but Thor's
does he
not
have a
in.
Personality?
Or the one from Westworld. I'm on Team him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot he's a Hemsworth.
I'm on Team nobody's favorite Hemsworth. There's no name.
We're on Team Fat Hemsworth.
But what's really strange though is that Hunger Games itself inspired a bunch of knockoffs too, with all like Divergent and the 100. Also,
yeah, basically.
All of those crappy YA dystopia books and movies.
They were all young adult novels or whatever. It's like, ugh. Can we just get like a dystopian movie without all the young romance bullshit?
I love a good dystopia story. I love them. Like that's my favorite genres. But I'm sick and tired of the young people who don't fit in with the evil society, so they rise up and win.
And there's the love triangle, which that's one of the things I appreciated most when they killed that one character at the start of this movie. I thought they were setting up a love triangle, and he literally just dies like 10 minutes into the movie. And it's like, all right, there's no triangle anymore. It's a line.
And all that stuff. Like I want the bleak dystopia. I love the bleak, soulless. You can't do anything. Your fate is sealed dystopia. So Battle Royale was until they made Battle Royale 2, which is kind of like Hunger Games, to be honest.
I have no plan. I do not plan on watching it.
I've never seen it. I don't plan on watching it, but it's about, I believe, the main guy who forms a terrorist group with all the other winners of Battle Royale to take on the government. So it's kind of like the Hunger Games sequel books.
I was gonna say it sounds like the sequels to the Hunger Games.
And much like them, it's also trash. Apparently, it did inspire a copycat killer in Japan.
Wait, just kidnapped a classroom of kids?
No. I think he tried. I think he might have slashed a teacher in the butt.
Oh, yeah, that was the weirdest thing. I was like, "That's how you get back at a teacher is like slicing his ass."
I was like watching, like, did he stab him in the leg or did he just slice his butt?
And the teacher gets him back.
Oh, that's right, he does.
He's like, yeah.
I was thinking, like, well, how are they gonna go on with like one of like these big characters like already wounded, and then, well, I mean, he blows him up. So so the plot synopsis, the start of it, of Battle Royale 2 is 3 years after the events of the first film, survivors of previous Battle Royales have formed a rebel group called the Wild Seven, led by Shuya Nanahara. A class of 9th graders composed of a ragtag collection of delinquents and losers are kidnapped by a authoritarian Japanese government. Many of these students are orphans whose parents or family died in bombings by the Wild Seven. And these orphans are then put into a new Battle Royale game.
Oh, jeez.
Apparently, it's super anti-US. Oh yeah, 'cause the U.S. bombs the Wild Seven when they free Japan. That's cool. Yeah, no one likes the sequel. And part of it is because the director of the first movie died making it. He filmed one scene, then died, so his son took over.
Oh, wow.
But his son did write the first movie.
I know, but just like he directed one scene, then gone.
And it sucks because the first film is amazingly directed. Some parts are not, but I chalk that up to more cultural differences.
Well, it also kind of seemed like, I don't know what the budget for this was, or...
Yeah, it's that weird mix, like you see sometimes of like it's simultaneously high and low budget. I don't know what to call it, because like some parts look kind of cheap and then other parts like clearly cost a good amount of money.
Because like when they're riding in the bus and they're driving by the military, it's like, okay, you use that same shot 3 times in a row.
All their money went into the opening titles. It went to the flashing yellow CGI Battle Royale. I mean, what that needed was some 80s synth and I think the 80s drums.
We needed a training montage in there.
I mean, when this one gets right into it, it gets into it. Because you think it's like, oh, this is going to be cheesy, isn't it? It's like, nope, it isn't cheesy. The budget,
I like that too. Like, just like how quickly it gets into the action. Because that was, not to, beat up Hunger Games again, but that is one issue I had with all of those, is that the games never begin until like halfway through the movie.
Stop, he's already dead.
Yeah, but it's like, this is like, you get the classroom scene that's really exciting. All this happens fast, and then boom, you're into the game. And it's like, well, the whole movie is going to be there.
Yeah, because you think that once the classroom scene's done, you're going to have a little bit of time for the killing starts. Nope, he walks out there and immediately there's a girl with an arrow through her neck, and the guy who shot her is coming after him. Immediately.
Yeah. Well, I thought, I thought, oh, they're going to wait till all of them are out there before they can start the games. Nope.
And it's like, oh, we'll get set up, and then boom, it starts, and then we'll see maybe 1 or 2. Yeah, the first day there's like half of them dead.
First like 10 minutes. And
you don't know which characters that are introduced are going to survive one scene, survive 20 minutes. You have no clue. Because I really thought that the runner girl was going to be like one of the main characters. Nope.
Nope, she didn't survive long.
2 scenes, she's out. The boy who liked her, and another girl too, for some reason. Like the one love triangle of the movie where they all die, like the scenes they're introduced in.
Yeah.
He's out too. And then the hacker guy survived pretty long.
Until he jumped off the side of the car and fell backwards for some reason.
To answer your question, Justin, the budget was $4.5 million US.
Wow.
Damn.
Which is quite a bit for a Japanese movie.
It depends on the director.
This is one of their top ones.
Yeah.
But
I guess, yeah. Kurosawa's not around anymore to make like some like mega movie.
I mean, and I know some people I don't think are super happy with, because this film is regarded as one of the greatest foreign language movies of all time, which is a very bold statement. I think some people don't necessarily like that reputation. And those, because to me, Battle Royale is like one of the people. It's one of those movies that is like the token. I don't watch foreign language movies, so this is my favorite foreign language movie.
I can see that.
Which has since become Parasite.
Yeah, but I think, so I was wondering, like, I was surprised to see it on lists, and I was kind of initially I kind of thought it was going to be one of those. Then I saw it, like, before I watched, I saw it on these other lists. I'm like, I wonder why. Like, I didn't think it would have that extra depth to it, but then like watching it is like legitimately, one of the best out there for sure. I mean, it's just a great film. So, but I would agree. Yeah, there's probably a lot of people who have seen this that haven't seen other foreign language films.
This is as someone who doesn't watch a lot of foreign language films.
Me.
I watch some. I'm referring to myself.
Oh.
I will say the one thing that was confusing for me was the beginning when they like the news crew's getting all excited and they're like, "Oh, it's the girl." I'm like, "Oh, we're starting at the end and we're gonna get back to this
yeah,
point."
Yeah, I thought that was the same girl for like half the movie, and then I'm like, that wasn't the same girl, was it?
No, because then I'm seeing all these girls. I'm like, I don't see any braces on any of these. Like,
but that smile though, that's like the image of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
is that little girl smiling at the beginning.
I had to go back and like rewatch the beginning scene because I was like, did that girl ever show up? But then you learn like, oh, this is something that goes on like every year, and you're like, oh, this must have been like last year. But then it's like, how do the kids not know about it? And I'm like,
and I like how her smile became like a recurring image when like characters finally snap. They do that smile.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one other crazy girl that kills a bunch of people does it. The guy who is the returning person talks about the girl he loved, who they had to kill, like who turned on him at the very end, did that smile at the end.
Yeah,
which was nice. Which was cool about that was like he lied about it or whatever, and then it turned out it was actually true, and you're like, you don't know what.
Well, he keeps lying about what his dad does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his dad has like every job that's ever existed.
His dad's a doctor, a cook, a boat captain.
Wait a minute. Is his dad Johnny Sins?
The new Avenger, Johnny Sins.
Feel free to cut that if you have to, but I couldn't resist.
Okay, so before we end this episode, let's see what other people have to say. We're gonna go on Letterbox, and I'm gonna read off some reviews of Battle Royale, which I've noticed looking at it, they're not as high as I would have expected. I would have thought on Letterbox this would have been one of the highest rated movies, but it's not. Its current score is 3.8 average.
I think that's kind of fairly high for what I would expect. I mean, some people aren't really into the gore and everything, so
yeah, that is. I feel like if you watch this movie, I mean, like I feel like the people that watch this movie know exactly what it is, and that's why they're watching it. Yeah, because people that aren't alive like this movie don't watch it because they read hard R movie about kids killing each other, and they don't watch it for that specific reason. I guarantee if I describe this movie to my parents, they're not watching it ever.
Yeah.
So going to these reviews, Sarah Jane gave it 4 stars. Top review. It says every boy in this movie looks like he is a character straight from anime. Man, I hate that hairstyle then and now. Suzanne Collins, The Hunger Games, says she was inspired to write The Hunger Games after the poverty she saw in Iraq. Does anybody believe this BS? Still a great movie 14 years later. Aaliyah gave it 4 stars and said, not a cell phone in sight, just teenagers living in the moment. Brat, who's one of the biggest commenters on Letterbox. I see her all the time in her reviews. Says 4.5 stars, better than The Hunger Games because Jennifer Lawrence isn't in it. Is it too edgy to hate on Jennifer Lawrence on Letterbox.com? Whatever, I'm gonna do it anyway. Edit. I lost a follower for hate on Jennifer Lawrence, but I don't care because I'm committed to the truth. Todd Gaines give it 5 stars. Look up I can't say his review because it's too inappropriate for this podcast.
Oh yeah, I see it.
But it's really funny, and so I encourage everyone to look it up.
Is that the one you sent last week or whatever?
It was.
Okay.
Chris gave it 5 stars and says, me, checking my survival bag. Damn, how am I going to kill myself with a pot lid? Pig emoji gave it 5 stars and said, everyone looked like they had fun. This was like it's an actual review. So this person, Naughty, a.k.a. Julie Norwood, gave it 5 stars and said, controversial cult classic, incredibly original and highly influential film that puts the Hunger Games to shame. It has more than earned its reputation for its violence and brutality, but the real star of the show is the diverse range of emotions and fears, good and bad, that are all too human. Takeshi Kitano adds some serious boku depth, I don't know what the fuck word it is, depth and flavor to the film. Any comments on that?
No.
It's about where it's about where I'm at it. Well, there is emotion, right? There's actually real emotion. Like Hunger Games has that whole little kid character whose whole purpose is just to die.
Right. They set it up so obviously. This has all of the characters have depth and more purpose beyond that. And then when they die, you're like, oh.
Okay, I have to read this review. It's a longer one, but it's pretty funny. Run. This is a 4-star review by Yijian. Run. We've already presented the main plot on the table in the first 5 minutes, and the rest of it are mostly predictable. What do you use to drive your film forward while keep it interesting? Testicle mutilation. Wait, no. Characters. That's right. Characters. Good ones. The ones with depth. And director Kenji Fukasaku, or rather author of the original novel Kushan Takami, delivers. 43 of them, including Kitano Sensei. The hardest part of telling a story about teenagers stabbing, choking, and shooting each other is to make the audience care about them. Once the obstacle is crossed, what we have is an emotional, intense, shocking, and insane little cult classic. What makes Battle Royale even more special is that we get to know these characters through acts of violence. We learn about them by watching how they react to different scenarios. Flashbacks and exposition are kept to a minimum. They may not be the best actors, but it's their interesting personas that matter. We have suicidal couples and quiet psychopaths, horny stalkers and paranoid cowards. So colorful characters can't wait until they chop each other's heads off.
Well, another thing about the Kyoto Sensei thing, it was like after he gets shot and all of a sudden his phone rings and all of a sudden he gets up, I'm like, is he not dead?
What?
But that's the thing, right? You expect his character to do that at the end because he's right. The characters do have tons of depth. I like his point he made about you learning about them through acts of violence. I hate how accurate that is.
Yeah.
You learn about the characters through how they kill each other.
Yeah, and that shows that all of it, like the brutality of the film, is like completely motivated. Like it's all motivated by character and plot, and like it's not there just to be there.
The character who has a history of violence put upon them by men always goes for the sensitive bits. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's horrifying,
but it's accurate.
But it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
That part can be cut. I don't care.
Here's one that's 4.5 stars by the real friends were the ones we murdered along the way.
That should be the tagline of the movie. There's something I wanted to say, though. I forgot to say this earlier.
Probably be the name of our podcast this week.
But the casting process for this movie is they found 800 kids, put them through an intense training regimen, and picked the best 40. They played Battle Royale to cast Battle Royale.
And
that's awesome.
Hey, I got a callback. You'll never guess what I have to do.
He says I have to go to this random island for a couple of weeks. Can you imagine going through all of that?
Maybe it's a resort.
Imagine going through all of that and then not getting a part.
Ugh, it'd suck.
And that just sounds awful. To be part of 800 kids, all just is it just go and work out? I'm like, yeah, no, go back home. Good. Okay, last one. This is from Josh Lewis. It's 4 stars. So it seems like a severe method in which to teach kids that being an adult is mostly just a confusing mess of hurt feelings and horrifying violence. But who am I to judge? It's there like a bad review? I want to say like a bad review.
Probably.
I mean, someone did say 3 stars.
Yeah.
Susan Collins. Hey, can I copy your homework? Battle Royale. Yeah, just change a few things so that's not obvious. Yeah, I'd say a lot of bad written reviews, which is I think telling because the movie's really it is really.
This person gave Gens Barasa gave it half a star. I saw this movie on an airplane. I walked out.
That's probably a troll, but it's still a good troll. But anyway, people like this movie. We like this movie, which I think it's interesting that we're all, because I wasn't actually sure how you two would think of the movie, because I knew at the beginning it was gonna piss you off, Alex, and I know Justin. Yeah. I know that you don't seem to be super into like mega gore.
This wasn't like Saw levels of gore or whatever. So, like you said, all the gore had kind of purpose.
It wasn't torture porn,
except for the one.
But by that I mean, like, because Alex, you always bring up torture porn with horror movies all the time.
Yeah, it's just nonsense.
Would you consider this to be a horror movie?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say horror movie.
I see our list of horror movies. I don't really think it is one.
No, I mean it's got like small elements, but it's not. I definitely wouldn't call it a horror movie.
Yeah, it's
definitely intense.
Definitely, like, I mean, it kind of starts as one, kind of like they all get knocked out and brought into a classroom and shit. But after that, that kind of turns into an action movie after that.
I mean, the classroom scene is kind of horror-ish, but also kind of like black comedy.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it a straight horror.
I wouldn't either.
It's got horror elements, but
a person who definitely has seen this movie that we haven't referenced yet is Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah, definitely. I was just thinking that too, like the mix of tones.
But the expert mix of tones, and knowing when to switch back and forth.
Yeah.
Because that's the weird thing about Bong Joon-ho movies. This movie kind of has is the thing about switching tones is to not do the same tones. It's not to do 2 tones at the same time, but to switch between them. It's not to do a horror comedy. It's to do horror and then a comedy and then horror again and then comedy again. Which I think this kind of does.
Yeah, because this is like horror in the beginning, and then it kind of turns into a dark comedy once you're in the classroom, but also terrifying.
And then it has the elements of a slasher movie, but it isn't really one.
Yeah, I mean, and everything's well lit. It's not like it's dark or anything, so you see everything.
There is the constant threat that the quiet kid is going to come out of nowhere with his Uzi and shoot you and run away.
Well, it was the quiet girl that had the poison that started a whole shootout.
Now I kind of see why they didn't want to do this after Columbine.
Yeah. But it kind of also makes you think, like, how many high schoolers would have seen this movie, though.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Considering it's rated R.
Well, I think had this would have released in the States when it was made, it would have been boycotted heavily by both the media and parents groups. Most theaters would like most big chain theaters would not show it, and they make very public statements saying so.
And I bet all those public statements would have nothing to do with the movie, because they'd probably say, "Oh, this happens in the movie," and it probably didn't.
Well, I'd say it's more of what happens in the movie. At that point, that doesn't really matter, because and you guys know me. I'm not big into censorship. But even like with me hating all forms of censorship, it's like, ooh, that would have been classless to release this right after that tragedy.
Well, yeah.
You know, like just from a common sense standpoint, probably not a smart move.
Well, it's like Spider-Man 2 took out the Twin Towers out of the movie after 9/11. I mean, I get it. That
was a really good trailer, though.
Yes, it was.
But it makes sense. I mean, you have to do things, and I have to respect them. And honestly, that probably is what made this movie more popular in film circles, is that it had that legend behind it, right? Because we've all heard the movies like the movie that they don't want you to see, which is mostly porn.
I'm kind of
stuff like Showgirls and Deep Throat.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised it took 10 years for it to come out.
Or stuff like Cannibal Holocaust, right? That's another one.
Oh yeah, the shock ones.
Yeah, like
it's like, yeah, we talk about torture porn. It's like shock porn. Like, oh, you know, that's so stupid too.
I mean, this movie was I still say it was withheld for valid reasons.
Yeah.
But I guess we can move into final thoughts. If you can stomach the premise, you will have a great time. As much as weird as it is to say, it is a fun movie.
Yeah,
it's a very intense ride, but I never felt like I want to turn it off at any point.
No.
I wanted to see where it went.
I mean, the only thing that really drags it down is the beginning with all the quick zooms and bad editing. But once they get to the classroom, was great.
Mm-hmm. Once they get to the classroom, the film settles into its pacing, and at that point, it's a very smooth, enjoyable ride. I might have wished we could have saw more background with the kids, just so I knew how to differentiate them from the beginning.
I thought they did a good job with that, with showing the flashbacks kind of after they died.
Yeah. I don't think what they did was bad. But my final score of Battle Royale is 4.5 stars out of 5. Justin, what's your final verdict?
I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. It was just, like I said, just the beginning kind of out of place at times, and I don't know. I probably have to rewatch it a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn between 4 and 4.5. Like, I'm not fully sure. I mean, it's an excellent film, like super intense. I was really surprised by the character depth, so I feel like I lean 4.5.
Okay, so gun to your head, 4.5 or 4?
Gun to my head. I'll say 4.5.
Okay, so those are our scores: 4.5, 4, 4.5. Very good movie. I highly recommend it. I think we all do too. I think you can watch it on Pluto TV, a bunch of other like free ad-based ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, because it is hard to find on DVD. I've tried. I had an opportunity to buy it at Barnes & Noble for $15, and I didn't, and I've regretted it ever since. But it is worth a watch. If you like action, if you like blood, if you like The Hunger Games and you want to see it done better, it's a must watch. And with that, we're out of time. If you agree with us, disagree with us, let us know on Facebook or YouTube. We want to hear what you think in the comments. Or if anyone likes Hunger Games more than Battle Royale, please let us know why. I'm honestly curious if these people exist, and if they do, I want to know their opinion. So if you are one of them, please let us know.
I'm sure they exist. They're just the ones who've never seen Battle Royale.
Well, I'm looking for someone that's seen both movies and thinks it's better. I want to know if they exist. So if you do, please let me know your opinions. I genuinely want to hear them. If you want to see our scores for this or any other movie we talk about on the podcast, go follow us on Letterbox. We all have tons of reviews. I'm pretty sure Justin has rated every movie he's ever seen.
Well, for sure, every movie that was released between 1990 and 2005.
Gotta get those early aughts movies in.
But if you are very curious what we think about other movies, including this one, go check us out. We have tons of scores. We should probably do some more written reviews on there. We do a lot of that talk on here. So if you're curious about some other stuff we think, if there are movies that you see on Letterbox scores and you go, hey, why do you think that? That's really low. David, why'd you give Forrest Gump such low score? Let us know. Maybe we'll talk about it on an episode. But with that, thank you so much for listening. For Alex Overall, Justin Ansel, I'm David Yanish. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Idiot Block. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get a notification every time we drop a new episode. Also, follow us on Facebook and Letterbox. The links are in the description.